Alright, buddy. So, I got a little bit of a situation here. So, my family really doesn't like me speaking about them online. Like, I'm so tired of this, dude. This is the problem, though, is because I don't have anywhere to express this shit. I have nobody else to talk to about it. I have no friends. And, like, it's my life. Like, you guys are part of my life. I'm expressing how I feel about you guys and the shit that goes on in my life. Like, I don't tell anybody else not to say anything unless they're hurting somebody. And, like, I'm not, and even then, I don't gotta watch. But my dad is afraid that he's gonna lose his job. My mom thinks I'm a despicable, horrible person because I share things that happen within the family online. And I am doing it from the bottom of my heart. I don't even like that term bottom, but the reason why I'm doing it is to truly help everybody else out. Because this family, yeah, there's some really beautiful things that we have, and we care a lot about each other, and we've been through a lot, but it's been fucked up. Like, there's been some serious fucked up shit that's happened, as many families in America and the rest of the world you got to go through. And some people like to keep it private. That's just not my style, man. I think the more that we all share our experiences, the more we can all learn from our experiences, the more that we can all help each other get through these tough experiences. And there's things that other families have gone through that my family could probably relate to and we could learn from, and vice versa. But this is the issue that I have, a real big issue I have with my parents, is like the way they've always been afraid of the dark side. Like, my dad doesn't want, he's gonna fucking hate me for doing this, but it's this is great. It's just weird because stuff just got better. Like, me and my mom just kind of like made up and she chilled out. And what's really sad about this whole thing too is I walked up to her room this morning. The first thing I said was, since I'm not taking the videos down, because he'd already asked me to do so, and I already told him no. He freaked out. And then so upon hearing the freaking out, I was like, well, I'm probably going to have to leave, which I was fine with. So I went to talk to my mom this morning, and I was like, Mom, do you guys want me to leave because I'm not taking the videos down? And she said no. My dad hasn't told me to leave either. So I was like, okay, I'll stay. And things have gotten better, but now I guess my dad has contacted my mom, and he's fucking irate about things that I've said. And so much so, like my mom's calling me despicable, horrible, cruel person for what I'm doing. And it's just interesting. She has no clue that what she is doing, like, she's saying that to me, but she like I could throw that back in her face. Like, her putting a cap on my mouth, like, that's freedom of speech. Like, we do live in America where we have freedom of speech. Like, I'm not hurting anybody. Like, what am I doing? I'm not making fun of my dad. I love my dad. Like, there's issues he has, as we all have issues, but I love him. I'm sorry it offends him that I speak my truth on the internet, but you are my family. You can't, like, that's a good point. Barry, my mother's brother, wrote a book, has a book that I'm not sure if it's published or not, but he's actually got like a cover, and it's an official fucking book where he tells his whole life story. And he talks about his family in his book that he shares online, and he doesn't get any issues for it. But yet here I am doing essentially the same thing in a different format, and I'm looked at like an evil fucking person for doing so. For just speaking the truth. It'd be one thing if I was talking tons of shit, like being mean, being, all that type of stuff, but I'm not at all. at all. My intent to do this is to help us all grow, because our family structure has been seriously fucked up. Seriously fucked up. Like, there's all sorts of stuff I can tell you guys that's just wrong. And most families here, if not all, have probably a similar story. And that's part of the pain. That's part of the trauma. That's part of the heaviness of this time, is that. And the more we can speak it, the more we can share it, the more we can get it off our chest, the better we feel, and the more we can learn from each other. And I can't stand living in a household where they don't like to talk about shit. I can't tell you how many times I've wanted to talk to my dad, because they have this tendency of we'll get into these giant fights, and then it'll just become too much, and we'll all just walk away, and then there'll be no resolution. No resolution. They'll just pretend like it never happened. Like, that's been a common theme in my life for a very long time, is people will flip out, do crazy shit, and then the next day they'll pretend like nothing happened. And like, there's no like, hey, let's, take a second and look back at this argument and this situation to see what went wrong. Like, what the fuck happened? Like, I don't want this to continue to happen. That's why I try to take the time to want to talk to them, because in doing so, I'm hoping that we'll figure out a solution, so we don't have to keep repeating the same shit over and over again, which is literally the definition of insanity. And that is how it feels living here at times, insane. Like, I can't tell you how many things that they do. It's just like, why don't you guys just do it differently? Like, but they've been doing it the same way for so many years. They're just ingrained into doing it that way. And I don't mean to be offensive, but yeah, it makes it hard for people to change sometimes, even when it could totally help out the situation in a better way. But, my dad fucking, I don't know, man. Some people have issues with change. And some people just, part of it's because they don't want to change. And a lot of that's, again, man, I'm not trying to, Dad, you're probably going to watch this, man. I love you. Michael, there's no hard feelings. Like, you guys are turning this into a giant ordeal when it doesn't even need to be. And you guys know I have no friends. I have nowhere else to express myself other than online. And for you guys to tell me that I can't do so is literally telling you guys I have to contain this raw emotion I have inside of myself, which is literally toxic. It's cancerous. I think that's where cancer and stress and disease comes from, is from continuing to hold on to emotions, especially toxic ones that you really need to let out. So I know how much of a relief I feel when I speak on these things. So it's really cruel for them to tell me that I can't do that. But they don't see that. So I'll probably end up having to leave here. But anyways, I'd be interested in what you guys think. I really would. Because this is an interesting conundrum. And, I don't think I'm wrong. But because if it's to grow, like, that's the intent, is to help this whole family grow, and is it right for them to tell me I can't talk about my own family? Like, I don't feel like it's right for him to do that, man. That's controlling, and he's done this authoritarian type controlling shit. It's the same way they tried to control me with the social thing, and when I was a kid, they tried to control me and make me go to cross country when I didn't want to be. I like running, but I didn't want to be a part of that, like the team, the school, that whole structure. I didn't really like being a part of. But like, they really tried to force me to do that shit, man. And they always said that they wouldn't too, which is interesting, because we grew up with somebody in the neighborhood. In our neighborhood we grew up, there was a family that had a very similar, like, they would like drag they had like a rope, I think, even that, like, where they would like tug their kid around to make them run, and we would see them doing it. And my dad was like, "That's cruel as fuck," and he's like, "I'll never do that to you guys." And I remember it because he actually ended up kind of doing it. I'm just being real, man. That's the fucking truth. And he's probably going to hate my guts for saying this, but it's the truth, man. So, all right. I love you guys. Y'all take care. Bye.